these teams have a similar issue, glaring offensive deficiencies in one particular portion. The Ravens still dealing with the departure of 3 linemen. The replacements have been kind of slow in getting a start and making things productive there. For Dallas, it's seemingly making the run game an afterthought, both schematically and personnel-wise, and they both rely on their highly paid quarterbacks to compensate for that, but Dak couldn't compensate, Steve, for the defense, which got run out of the stadium for the second straight game there. The Packers did it last year in the playoffs on Sunday.
Well, that's why this is the Derrick Henry game, right? This is the back that everybody in Dallas wanted for the Cowboys. And so this is the back that the Ravens have not figured out how to use yet. Oh, and what a Dallas. So we're looking at a video of Rashid Shaheed and all these great pass plays. You know, they only threw the ball 19 times. The Saints ran all over the Cowboys.
Right.
And I think this is going to be an opportunity because of that soft interior, as they say, up the spine, D tackles, middle linebacker, and safeties in the run game for the Cowboys for Derrick Henry to get that run game going, even though both of those guards, as Patrick said for the Ravens, have been shaky.
Yeah, you know what? They did get the running game going late against the Raiders. They ran the ball pretty well in the second half before the 3 and outs at the end of the game. But before that, Henry was finally kind of looking like Henry. And you said it, this Mike Zimmer defense, like they could not set the edge last week at all. We were talking about DeMarvion, Overshown, Marshawn Nealon, these young guys for the Cowboys, and Overshown was barely even playing last week. They were in base defense. They had 3 linebackers on the field, and they still got run over. You know, you sign a couple guys, Jordan Phillips and Linval Joseph, late in camp, and you're like starting them week 1. That is never a good sign. And now Phillips is actually going to IR. So I just don't know if they're that talented defensively, like, which is crazy to say when you have Trevon Diggs. And I like Jordan Lewis, and of course you like DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons up front, but it's more just like, can a good offense pick out their weak points? I think they have some at linebacker, at defensive tackle, and maybe in the secondary they are missing Deron Bland too.
It was just so difficult for the Ravens to really do something in the opener against the Chiefs that wasn't directly Lamar related. And even in the Raiders game, where the passing yards they did get, Lamar's having to shift away from Max Crosby. He's having to make Christian Wilkins miss in the pocket and then come up and do the pump fake thing and get the ball to Zay down the field. It's just hard to let go of those images and thinking about Micah Parsons being the chase guy. It's very tough for me.
I agree. I mean, I think Micah Parsons, Zimmer's gonna turn him loose. But this is the game I think we're gonna see Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely get in there. You talk about some of the linebacker issues they have. You soften them up with an intermediate passing game, and boom, Derrick Henry can get going. And like you said, Greg, he was hitting some nice runs. He was doing that against Kansas City as well. And then Todd Monken flashed back to the playoff game and said, you know, we don't need to run the ball with our running backs anymore. Let's make Lamar try and do everything.
So flipping to the other side, when Dallas has the ball, and I like the Ravens in this game.
I do too.
It's partly because they're 0-2, but it's partly just because I think they're a better football team. I might have jumped off my take that the Cowboys were going to be a mess 1 week too early. I got it right, and then I jumped off, and now I'm wrong. I'm not really being serious about that, but I do think the Ravens are a more talented team. And that game last week that the Ravens lost, it was one of those where, you know, if at Football Outsider, FTN now, they run the simulations, and like if you look at the game, the Ravens should have won that game like 92% of the time. It was a little fluky how they lost it. And then you look at this Dallas offense, which hasn't really been right for 2 straight weeks. Where are the strengths for this Cowboys team? Sure, it's Dak is there, but the offensive line communication, I think, has been an issue. There's been a little bit of talk of like Dak's making all the calls at the line of scrimmage, but you have a rookie center and communicating to the offensive line and them all being on the same page. And it's not just the rookie left tackle with Tyler Guyton. Their right tackle, Terrence Steele, had a really bad game last week. And the Ravens can maybe get after the passer a little bit. They can cook things up. And I still think the lack of depth behind CeeDee Lamb is an issue. And I have more faith that kind of in the Ravens infrastructure.
If the Cowboys are looking for good news, this stat was wild that I saw this week. The Baltimore Ravens have had the opposing quarterback play action pass drop back 13 times. They are 13 for 13 on those dropbacks. A rough start. Both teams. Somebody's got to get something figured out.